Greetings, everyone. Jazz the Medium here. I wanted to share an experience that I had the other day. I had met a celebrity medium, Thomas the Medium, at a spiritualist church that we have here in Cincinnati. Well, it all started off the night before when I had a dream. I had a dream that my mom had came back to life just so that I can be with her when she took her last breath. And everyone that knows me closely knows that I had took a short vacation the day before she died, so I wasn't in town when she died. And the funny thing is, she insisted that I go. And even though I knew she wanted me to go, and she had always told me she didn't want me to be there when she took her last breath because she had felt like I had already done too much because I was her caregiver, I still wanted to be there. So when I had left the day before she died, I said, "Mom, I need you to act right. Hang in there. Don't cut up until I come home, and I'm going to take care of you and everything else." I knew she wasn't feeling well, but I had already placed a call to her hospice nurse to get her some antibiotics. I thought maybe she had like a respiratory infection or pneumonia. So on the way down to our trip in Tennessee, I doze off and I have a dream where she come to me and she tell me like, "Hey, Jazz, I don't think I could hold on till you come back." And I was kind of pleading with her to hold on. Well, I got to my retreat. The next morning I wake up and I call her and the nurse is there. And the nurse was like, "You know what? We're going to take your mom to inpatient to stay until you come back because she's not feeling well." So I said, "Okay." So I think he called me like 5 minutes later and he was like, "Jasmine, this is so weird, but like all of her oxygen equipment just shut down at the same time and her tanks aren't working." And I'm like, "Huh?" He was like, "Yeah, so we've got to get her out of here now." So basically they took her to the inpatient unit and she didn't make it that day. She took her last breath at about 5:20 p.m. that evening. So I was not there to hold her hand like I had planned to be. Later I found out my brother told me that when he asked her where was I, she told him that she sent me away. And she had insisted that I go. I said, "Mom, I'll stay home." And she was like, "No, you need to go. You need a break. You're tired. I have been taking care of her for months." She was like, "You need to go." So after a while, a little regret started setting in because my best friend was with her and her caregiver who was also close to the family, but I wasn't there. And the other night I had a dream, and in the dream she had came back to life and she wanted to give me the opportunity to be there with her. So I was running all around town looking for sage. Like, "I need some sage. I need some sage." I had a coworker who I no longer work with driving me. I'm not even close to the girl, but she was in my dream. And she was driving me around. And finally she was like, "Jasmine, your mom doesn't have that long. You need to get over there and be with your mother for her last moments." So she dropped me off at, it looked like an old Roman Colosseum. It was massive. There were several like rows of seats. And like in the middle, she was like laying there, just resting quietly. The sky was like purples and deep reds. It was beautiful. Like the whole sky was like a different color. And then the sun looked like it was setting. So I went and I laid down behind her and wrapped my arm around her like I used to do when I was a kid. When she would climb into bed with me or I climb into bed with her, I kind of, cradle behind her, wrap my arm around her. And when I closed my eyes, I was able to see her heart beat. And I seen it get faint and faint and faint and faint. And then it stopped. So the next morning I woke up. I just happened to click on Facebook and I saw that Thomas the Medium was here in Cincinnati. And I had never seen a celebrity medium before. So I was like, well, that'd be a good opportunity. So I clicked on it to check the price. And the one that he had that's a larger crowd, it was a much higher price, but it was sold out. But he had a small demo going on at a church for like $50. And I said, oh, I got to get this. So I treated me and one of my close friends down there and we went, and it was an amazing experience. So on the way down there, I had to talk with my mom like, "Mama, I'm gonna need you to pop on up here and let him pick me out because I want to hear from you." So we get down there and I purchased his book, which so far is good. I have it with me right here. His book is called Never Argue with the Dead Person. Good read. And like he talks in the beginning, he just talks about accounts and stories of different readings he's done, but in the beginning he talks a little bit about his childhood, and it sounds similar to mine. I saw my first spirit when I was about maybe 4, and it may have been before that, but I don't remember. But anyhow, he's going through the crowd and he's reading people, and he's so amazing because I'm not always the best with names. Like sometimes I'll be off, but he was exact. Like, who's Mark? Oh, Mark's my uncle. Oh, tell him your mom says hi. You know, and I just be like, I'll be off. Like, I'll be like, who's Emily? You mean Nadine? You know, so it's just, I'll be off, you know, but so I'm practicing and I'm learning. So this was a great learning experience. Well, one thing I noticed with him was that sometimes if two spirits are similar, he'll pull 2 of them will come through. And he said, I've got 2 women here. They both died from cancer. The cancer spread pretty quickly and they both died close to the age of 60. So I raised my hand up and I said, that's my mom. But this other lady next to me raised her hand and said, that sounds like my mom too. So he pointed at me and talked to me. He said, she's giving me the name Lee. Well, my daughter, Khalees, is my mom's favorite, and she goes by Lee. And I said, well, that's my daughter. But the lady over there was like, well, my mom's name is Lee. So then he was like, well, the woman's giving me the letter J. Who has the J name? She was like, well, my name is Jasmine. But the lady said my mom's name was Janice. So he went to her, and he felt like he had to give her a message. So as he's filtering through the messages, all the messages that he was giving her were identical to my mom. Even all of the accounts, like he said, shortly before she died, they had to move her somewhere quickly. So the lady says, well, my mom moved to a nursing home 6 months before she died. And I'm like, well, my mom moved the day she died. They had to get her to inpatient hospice. So everything sounds so familiar. And I sat there quietly because I wanted to be respectful. And I let him give her the message. And he brought up something about antiques. And my mom collects antiques. And the lady couldn't really place it. And he was like, well, I see 2 antique lamps. They're like ceramic lamps. Well, my mom painted ceramics. And she had lamps that she would make. But the lady couldn't really place it. But I still sat there quietly because I felt like maybe it was my message. Or maybe it was a message for both of us. So he continues talking to her and stuff. And then he mentions baskets and like stuff everywhere. And she's like, well, my mom did so because he mentioned yarn and she had a few baskets. But I'm like, man, my mom had baskets and baskets of yarn and coupons. My mom had shit everywhere. And you'll walk in my house and there'll be baskets everywhere. So I'm like, I just knew it. And it's funny because I'm sitting there like, so finally the message was, your mom wants you to know that she appreciated everything that you did to her. And she appreciated the fact that you were there with her all the way up until the time that she died. And then it was just like, that was my message. And even though he was talking to this other woman, I was able to receive that message. I just knew in my heart that was my mother. And I got confirmation because after the reading, it had to be about 7 or 8 people came to me and was like, you know what? I think that was your mother. I think that message was for you. So I think that was kind of confirmation, like that was my message. And I took it and I was happy. I can say that Thomas the Medium, he's really good. I love his show. His show is called Seatbelt Psychic. And it comes on Lifetime. But in person, he's amazing. He's very accurate. He's very precise. A lot of his skills, I was just kind of learning to see how he operates, to see how he moves, to see how he thinks, because I've seen other local mediums. Shout out to the local mediums in Cincinnati. Woo woo. But I've never seen a celebrity medium in person. And I had already made it my mission to kind of check out other mediums to see how they do, just to kind of learn how, the process works. And he was amazing. I mean, he'll be walking through the crowd. He knew exactly who he wanted to go to. He knew exactly kind of like the area where they were. And I just thought it was really dope. So I know I'm usually talking about different types of subjects and stuff, but I wanted to share this personal experience I had because it's very special and it's something that I'll never forget. It's something that I'll probably even add to my book. This was very dope to be my first celebrity meeting in a group setting, but to also have that dream about my mom the day before and to get that closure, it was amazing. If you would like to book a reading, you can hit up my website at www.jazzthemedium.com, or you can email me at jazzthemedium@gmail.com. I also want you to check out my new sleep oil called Dreamcatcher. It's made of all natural herbs and essential oils. It's working very well for people who have trouble sleeping or who have chronic insomnia. But for also people that do dream work, it helps. Definitely helps with dream work. People telling me they're dreaming more. They're having powerful dreams. So if you're interested, it's a 15 milliliter bottle and it's $22 and it's for selling. It's up on my website. Peace.